Hi. Hey guys, so I was requested to do a wedding guest makeup tutorial, and this is what I've come up with. I would definitely do a couple things different if you don't prefer so much makeup, maybe less foundation, less highlight, and less shimmer on the eye. Totally up to you if you want to go this glam or dramatic. And I was also requested to do a chit chat type video, um, talking about a story that is like from my last boyfriend. So you'll hear about how I broke into his phone or broke into his home. Um, so you'll hear about how I broke into his home. You'll hear about how I um, found his family through his grandfather's obituary. Um, it's kind of fuck shit. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Okay guys, so I'm starting with the brow definer by Anastasia. I had a different one here, but I don't know where I put it. Oh, found her. It was under my ass. So I'm going to use the Brow Wiz Skinny Brow Pencil in medium brown. I might not do this for all my products that I'm using because they're all listed below, but... And I apologize if you can hear any noise in the background. I do have my fan on as well as my central air. It is so fucking hot, you guys. I don't know where you are. I'm in Canada, and it feels like 35 out today. So pretty fucking bogus. Although I love it. I can't wait to get the pool open, but... So I had a couple people who watched my Fembot video where I talked briefly about it. And they wanted me to do like a story time on it. There's honestly not really much to say. A while back in like November, December, I talked about how I was talking to this guy, and he was really sweet and really kind, and before even meeting me, he actually moved like 4 hours because I said like I can't do long distance. This is all he told me. So now in hindsight, I'm realizing this guy's fucked. But we're not going to talk about that right now. We're not going to, you know, when you're in love or whatever, you're blind. So I was really vibing him. By the way, I'm just doing like a neutral shimmery smoky eye, nothing really crazy, but I'm using the Orgy palette. I'm probably going to use Versatile, Invitation Only, Happy Ending, a couple of colors in here, but so I was really digging this guy, and I thought, like, you know, I'd never been in love before, and I mean, want to meet the guy of my dreams, obviously, so this is all too fucked. So I meet this guy, and he's just as cool in person as he is online. And he digs me, like, we're both feeling each other, and we got to the point where we were like pretty much hanging out every day. It was very quick, the feelings I developed for him. I usually develop feelings quite quickly because I kind of throw myself at the person. I'm a passionate person, so I kind of throw myself into whatever I'm doing to the very to a fault almost. Another thing that was weird was he didn't have Facebook, that's fine, but he had told me a different last name. So he showed me, he was a chef, and he showed me his like verification card for being a chef, and I noticed there was a different last name on it, and I was like, why is that last name different? And he's like, well, that's my real last name, but I want to distance myself from my family. And any dude who wants to distance himself from his family, I'm learning now, because I've met a couple, they seem to be the only guys who go for me. I have very strong family values, and I love being around my family, and it's really important for me to meet a guy who enjoys being around his family. And I'm learning now that guys who want to like cut themselves off from their family, in my experience, are a little fucked. I'm like, okay, that's weird, but whatever. So fast forward maybe like a month or whatever, he tells me he's gonna go help his sister move, and this is hours away, like I had mentioned. I was like, okay, I mean, that's really nice of you to go help your sister. It's just weird that you have to go hours away. Like, couldn't your sister, like, find a friend? I didn't say that, obviously, because, like, whatever, do what you gotta do. So, once again, hindsight's 2020. I should have realized that's fucked up. So he tells me his dad's coming to pick him up, they're going for a drive, and they're gonna go back to the city he's from. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. He texts me for a while, and then he just stops. And I'm like, kind of worried, because I'm thinking, like, is he on the road still? He shouldn't be on the road. It only takes 4 minutes or 4 hours. I was like, is he still on the road? Like, what's good? And I'm calling him, I'm texting him, I'm like, I have a really bad track record with guys, so I'm like prepared for them to leave me or fuck me over before it even occurs. So I'm like texting him, like, if you don't want to be with me, that's fine, like, I totally get it. I just want to know that you're okay. So he does not get back to me for days. And I'm sitting there like petrified that he's dead. So my mom and I drive into his place. This is where kind of fuckery hits the fan. So we drive into his place, and it looks pretty dead. He had some roommates, so I was like, okay, let me go see what's good. I knock on the door. I knew he had roommates, and I thought, why is no one answering? I go downstairs. Oh, okay, so I kind of skipped the part here. I twist the door, and it opens. I turn around, I look at my mom in the car, and she goes, like, yeah, go for it. So I'm like, okay, I guess we're doing this. I wasn't gonna really tell the story, because I figured, like, it's probably illegal, but I realized I'll just deny it, and I'll say that it was, like, fake, because it was. But I figure, like, if I get in trouble, whatever. I'll just deny it. I'm just putting some Diamond Wet Supreme Frost on my eye. I love this. Because the mini orgy just wasn't doing it for me. I go into his house. I go down to his room. And there's, like, a few things that are gone. Like his PS5. And this was when they were new. So I was like, maybe he's taken his PS5 because he was nervous that his roommates were going to steal it. Once again, hindsight 2020. So, like, his couch was still there, his desk was still there from IKEA. He had, like, an Alex desk or whatever they're called from IKEA, and quite frankly, I should have taken it because they're, like, not cheap, but that would have taken a little bit longer, like, to unscrew the legs and shit, so I figured, let me dip out. So I go to his roommate's room, and I hear noises, so I'm like, okay, someone's in there. So I knock on the door. She's like, who is it? I'm like, it's your roommate's girlfriend. So she comes to the door. She's like, hey girl, what's up? I'm like explaining to her what happened, and I'm explaining to her the kind of worries that I have. And she's like, someone came and, like, left with him. Like, they packed up a bunch of shit and left with him. And I was like, who? Keep in mind, remember that this is days after I hadn't seen him. So I'm like, fucking who? Like, here we fucking go. She's like, oh, it's a girl. I'm like, oh, lovely. I said, what does she look like? She goes, old and not very pretty, and that's that. And I said, oh, okay. Did she have gray hair? Because that's what his mom had. She says to me, no, she didn't. I'm like, oh, okay, so it's his ex-girlfriend. So I go out to my mom's car, because remember, we had gone in together. I'm like, okay, girl, well, I say to his roommate, okay, girl, well, you know, here's my number. We exchanged numbers. We talked for a little bit. She was very nice. Hi, Julia, if you're watching this. So I go out to my car, and I'm like, so listen to this. So I tell my mom, and she's like, I fucking knew it. I'm texting my friends, and I'm like, you guys, what the fuck? Like, listen to what just fucking happened. And my friend is kind of like a sleuth. Like, she can find out any information. Like, she's found out where people live before. She's found out, like... So, anyway, it's just fuck shit. So I tell her about him. She already knew about him because I had posted photos and stuff. I tell her his name, and she can't find anything. And I'm like, wait a minute. Try his real name. So I send her his real name. She comes back at me in, like, seconds. She found his grandfather's obituary, where his parents lived, a bunch of fuck shit. I was like, oh, here we fucking go. Now shit's getting real, right? He's not answering me, but maybe his fucking mom will. So I find out his mom's name, find out his sister's name, find out his dad's name. I go on messages. I sound like a right fucking psychopath. But I was just worried if he was, like, dead. You know? Like, that's all I wanted to know, if he was dead. So I go and message his mom and his sister on Facebook. His sister messages me back, and she's like, he's with our dad right now. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, like, I don't know what happened, but he's with our dad. Oh, I forgot primer. I'm just gonna use the, I bought this and I don't know that I've ever used it. I don't really remember. So I'm gonna use the Danessa Myricks, what's it called? Smooth FX Refining Gel. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna read you guys the messages. So I said, hey, I know this is weird, but I've been seeing blank, and he hasn't responded in 36 hours. I know he was going to help you move. I'm just terrified something happened to him. Do you know where he is? She says, hi, yeah, I haven't heard from him. I'll see what I can find out. I'm thinking like, oh, you haven't heard from him, but he's helping you move, so red flag. I said, did he end up helping you come move? I'm really sorry for all the questions. I literally just told him I love him and he does this. And she says, I don't mean to do this, but you're a real person, right? Like, you're not just stirring up shit. I'm like, what the fuck? So I sent her photos of us, and I sent her a photo of like stuff that we were saying to each other, where he was like saying love you, and I'm like, what's the chance I'll see you tomorrow? I have a gift for you, blah blah blah. I said, I have more photos, but I truly do love him and I'm terrified something happened to him. She said, all right, well, thanks for clarifying. Yeah, he's fine. He's with our dad right now. I said, oh my God, thank God he's okay. Do you know why he hasn't answered me? Has he said anything about me? I'm genuinely so sorry I'm coming across as crazy. This is not the way I wanted to meet his family. Then she says, I'm sorry, but you're jumping into a huge pile of shit by talking to me right now, so I think it would be best to just pause this for a bit. You're not crazy, and I appreciate you letting me know about him and hope to meet you in the future. Okay. So I'm like jumping into a pile of shit. Like, is it because he doesn't want to, like, doesn't want to be around his family? Like, fuck. Like, I'm thinking maybe this is why he's like changing his name and shit, because his family's fucked. So I end up texting, and I messaged his mom, by the way, too. The bitch never got back to me. She fucking blocked me. So I end up messaging him on my mom's phone. Like, and honestly, he answers me fucking right away. I could have done that days ago instead of fucking stressing, breaking into his house. Like, what the fuck was wrong with me? Message him from my mom's phone, and he's like, hey, yeah, I blocked your number. I got back with my ex. Oh. Okay. Like, what the fuck? Why didn't you tell me? And I'm like, can we at least talk on the phone so I can know what's good? Like, what's up? Pretty much says, no, we can't talk on the phone. You're lucky I told you the truth. Like, pretty much gaslighting me into, like, believing him. Or pretty much gaslighting me into thinking, like, he did nothing wrong. I'm lucky for him I'm lucky that he told me what happened when he could have had the decency to tell me that right away. I'm like, fuck you, the horse you rode in on, you're fucked. You just told me you loved me, like, what the fuck is happening? I'm, like, pretty fucking mad at this point, because I'm thinking, like, who the fuck do you think you are, you know what I mean? That's the story. I mean, nothing really crazy happened. I mean, I broke into his place, but that's not that bad, right? The door was open. And I told my mom, like, did I just break into his house? She's like, No, the door was open. I'm like, that's what fucking, like, that's what actual criminals use. Like, I didn't break in, the door was open. So, I pretty much said, like, have a nice life, and I moved on, and I messaged his sister, and I was like, never mind, he blocked me and went back to his ex-girlfriend, who he had stopped, by the way, who he had stopped talking to and stopped talking to his family because his ex-girlfriend, like, kind of put a wrench between them. So, I'm thinking, like, oh, it was probably fucking him that put a wrench in between them, you know what I mean? My skin's so fucking horrendously dry right now. Fuck my life. She's like, so I tell her, like, you know, this happened. I just wanted to let you know. Thanks for your help anyway. She then was feeling real fucking froggy and took a leap, and she says, it's all good. Don't even worry about it. My brother is a man whore and a chronic liar, which is why I didn't really want to get into it with you because half the stories I get for him are made up. My advice to you is to not open your heart so easily, especially to those you meet online. First of all, I didn't ask you for your fucking advice, girl. I want to know where your fucking brother was. Second of all, you couldn't have fucking told me that? Like, instead of saying, like, oh, no, it's fine. Like, I don't know where he is right now. You couldn't have said, like, my brother's fucked up. Abort mission? That is the last I ever heard of him, her, and the bitch of a mother who blocked me. And it took me a while to get over, honestly. Like, I did take it kind of hard. Because, like, you want these experiences to be memorable, you know what I mean? And when someone just come up and almost, like, violates you by lying and violates you by making it out like you're the bad guy or you did something wrong by saying, like, well, you're welcome, I told you. Like, it just fucks with your head, you know? And I just think, like, it fucking sucks to have to deal with that. Like, if he wanted to get back with his ex, he could have fucking told me. I would have been cool with it. Like, yeah, I would have been sad, but I wouldn't have been, like, fucking worried for days on end that his ass got in a fucking car accident. And I think, like, oh my god, I was worried about you getting hurt and you weren't even worried about giving a fuck about me? Fuck you, buddy. That's the story. It's not crazy, but I hope that not only does it make me come across as a total fucking psychopath. I mean, if it does, YOLO. What are you gonna do? But I digress. Took me a while to get over. I'm totally over it now because I know that I did nothing wrong. And I couldn't control it. He was fucked up from the get. And, you know, is what it is. I'm just glad that I'm past that now. That was back in December, and it's now May, almost June, so it's been a while. And I know he, like, knew about my YouTube channel, and he watched a couple of my videos, so if you watch this, I just want you to know, I wish you the best. You're a cunt. Men always come fucking calling back to me, though. Like, they do some fucked up shit. Like, I knew a guy, or I saw a guy who went to jail, and when he got out of jail, he was like messaging me back and shit. I'm like, leave me the fuck alone. Like, I don't want to fuck with you if you just got out of jail. Like, first of all, that's he as fuck. I'm not trying to get booked for him doing something that I'm not aware of. Like, if he has drugs on him in the car or something and the police pull him over and we both get fucking booked for it, fuck that. This video does not put me in a very positive light, I'm realizing. I sound like a fucking total bitch. I swear I'm not. I'm just really learning my self-worth, and I'm learning that I don't need to get trampled on to feel validated. I don't need to have a guy treat me like shit to feel wanted or desired. I'd much rather just be single. So that's what I'm learning. I don't want you guys to think I'm like a total jackass. I wasn't really gonna do foundation and stuff, but that obviously did not last. Mini Orgy's pretty fucking lackluster. I don't know if the new release is better than the original one I'm using, but nothing fucking special, that's for sure. Usually I love his eye palettes. The only ones I didn't enjoy were the Androgyny and Beauty Killer. I only have those now for my collection purposes. I suppose I could have kept that story time going a little bit longer. But I have a hard time talking and doing makeup. I find I like stop doing my makeup and I talk a lot. That's why whenever I'm getting ready with friends, it takes us like hours to get ready because we're all talking shit and like trying to get ready. If you don't want anything dramatic for the eye, I would definitely recommend doing something nude. I'm actually gonna do a half black under eye, what's it called? A half black waterline and a half nude water. I feel like this looks similar to a lot of the looks I end up doing. The only thing I would maybe change on this is if you don't want to look like you're wearing a shit ton of makeup, just don't do as much foundation as I have, because I definitely have done a lot of foundation. But I like to look like flawless in photos, but you can definitely tell I'm wearing makeup. I've said this 100 million times, but I don't contour my face really. I just do bronzer around the perimeter because it really takes like 20 pounds off of here. Like my face goes out to here, but it looks like it goes out to here, you know what I mean? I didn't even get a lip color. What the fuck am I thinking? What am I gonna use? What am I gonna use? I don't normally put blush on my forehead or nose, but I wanted to look like really sun-kissed. And sunburn is my version of sun-kissed, so... And I have said this 100 million times. If you guys do not have any of the Danessa Myricks Enlight powders, you just have to give them a go if you love super, super, super glow. like almost metallic looking. They're so beautiful, at least in my opinion. For daytime, I would probably just do more of a flush natural cheek with a light, like maybe Colourpop Flexitarian over top of a really beautiful bright coral cheek. I think that would be lovely. I always like to go over my blush or over my highlight with blush just to tone it down ever so slightly so it doesn't have the stark white look. It's really important when you go to a wedding to you know, look your best, because the photos are going to be around forever. And you don't want people to look back on the photos and say, woof, who's that? Sometimes I think to myself, am I gonna look back on the lashes I wear and think to myself, what the fuck was I thinking? But then I look and I think it looks really pretty. Maybe I'm alone in thinking it's pretty, but I suppose that's all that matters, isn't it? I hope this video has been good enough. I mean, I had a lot of requests to tell the story, and I didn't think it was that interesting. Like, I have a couple stories that I find really funny. Like when a guy tried to get me to do porn outside of a pizza. He had like blood in a bag. And he was like talking to me like, hey, come and film with me, and showing me his videos and stuff. Like, that's funny to me, but it's not long enough for a video. Like, he tried to get me to film porn with him. He had a bag of blood in his hand. And my friends came out of pizza and were like, what the fuck? That's the story. I didn't film it. La 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 la, la la la, la la la. I'm gonna go put on a lip now. Baby. I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.